Hello, my name is Alex Xolo and I'm an MTF alumni. And I'm sitting with my mentor, the one, the only, Phathu Makwarela.
Hi everyone, my name is Tshedza Makwarela. I'm a television producer and a writer, and I'm sitting with a fantastic mentee, Alex, and we're just gonna talk about our journeys in the industry and how Multi-Choice Talent Factory factors in, especially now that they're celebrating 10 years?
Yeah, 10
years.
They've been around for a while.
Yeah, and when did you join? Take me through to that whole journey.
Oh, actually that's very interesting. Like, I applied in 2020 when I was finishing my honors at UJ, and I got rejected. And then I did again 2021, and then I was like, you know what, let me just do it one last time. And then 2022, that's when it started. Like, that time was a charm, actually.
It paid off.
Yeah, it did pay off. It did, actually, because I was like, I want to be a part of it. I don't care. I don't know what happens. I just have to be a part of it.
Why?
No, because I knew it was going to be a way that I could really induct myself in the industry, you know, get to know a lot of things. Because you know how varsities are usually done, not a lot of practicals. So I was like, maybe I'm going to get a practical experience and then also be able to learn from other people like yourself. Yeah.
And really, in terms of the highlights, since you know, after trying tries and failing and eventually making it through, what really has been your highlights in
the
Multi-Choice Talent Factory?
I think for me, my highlight was like meeting my mentor. We were on the river. Yeah, when I went to the river, that for me it was really, really
When did
nice.
you go? Which season was it?
The final season.
Okay.
Yeah,
season
the final
6.
season. Yeah.
Yes.
So I was there, and then I got to learn a lot from there because I got to understand what I wanted to do as well. Because I was like, okay, I'm here, but what do I really want to focus on? So I did that, and then that was the biggest one. And then also having to direct something, that was fun. That was fun. Yeah.
I've never really had any interest in directing. It's always very intimidating. I always think writing is much more exciting for me. You know, it's much more fulfilling for me.
Yeah. What was that moment in your life when you realized that you wanted to be a writer? Like, where did it start, really?
You know, I think it's one of those interesting things where I think the assumption that maybe there was a separate path. Yes, I went to a technical high school, but I think towards the end of my high school, I think I knew I wanted to be in television. I think I wanted to write. I knew I wanted to write. So there was never really like a light bulb moment for me. It was something that I knew. This is what I was, I was actually born to do. And now the question became, how then do I go about doing it?
Oh, yeah.
So that's really then, for me, it's something I've always known this is what I wanted to do.
That's interesting, because I didn't. I think I did it in my final year of high school. That's when I was like, okay, maybe this is what I have to study. Because I always thought, like the only thing I can make money from with writing is novels.
Okay.
So that's what I thought. And then my neighbor went to actually study the same thing. So I was like, okay, maybe I can actually do this. And then that's when I was like, you cannot let me just try and see.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, then what's interesting is that then we did Youngins together.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Oh yeah. That was fun. That was fun.
I mean, it was interesting because I'd spent so much of my career doing telenovelas with middle-aged female leads, and we had just done, I think, adulting on Showmax, and really we were looking at how do you make a youth content for the kids whose parents watched Yizo Yizo.
Yeah,
that was really our guiding principle. We're like, okay, those people are now have 16 and 15-year-olds, and now let's make a show for them. And I mean, I would just like to hear you, as you know, much younger than me, how that writing room experience was for you.
So that was like my first writing room experience, if I'm being honest. It was like my first one, and it was challenging because you never really know what to expect.
Yeah.
But it was also very fun because you gave us room to actually be able to express our ideas and listen, and also teach us how to really tell like those stories, like what to focus on. Because most stories don't really focus on character stories. It's just plot, and there we had to understand our characters, see them, and also know how to tell stories from that perspective. And it was really, really fun. So in your journey, like, what have your challenges been? Like, especially if you can focus on Youngins, like making that show come to life.
You know what? It's because it's funny because I went to a boarding school, right? I remember when we were talking about a show and people wanted it to be a day scholar kind of show and would be engaging with grid, and I said it has to be a boarding school. And I remember the push for that was that you suddenly attain some sense of independence and autonomy at a much younger age than you would if you're going to university as a first year. So, and you're like 14, 13, and suddenly your parents are very far from you, and a lot of crazy stuff happened there. You know, as you've seen. So, and I think the really challenging about making a show like that was for me realizing that I'm no longer 13, 14, right? And then and when I was in boarding school, so much has changed. And it was, how do I capture the zeitgeist of the kids in 2024, the young people? Which is why I think we did a lot of research. Like we saw a lot of young people that had really just left high school, that had done boarding school, like just so that we make sure that our story resonate with
the audience,
with them. And I'll tell you what was fascinating, was realizing that nothing has really changed.
Still
like high school is still the same, as difficult and as challenging as it was in our time. But really it was like we are talking to a much more different generation, a generation where, because when I was in high school, there were 3 or 4 TV channels. But now I have to capture things where I'm competing with social media content. I'm, you know, and I'm now on a streaming platform. I'm not on linear. How do you capture that audience? So that, I think, for me was the greatest challenge.
But I think we did great there, because the show found its audience. It lives, it breathes.
I think that was the most surprising thing for me, was that its target audience now became the ambassadors of the show, right? They were the ones you would open. It was, you didn't know whether to like it or not like it. You'd open social media platforms, and then there's like videos, and then people are discussing. You're like, no, I want you to stream it there and pay the 99 rand streaming. But they were viewing it, and it was very interesting to see that the viewers became the billboard for the show.
They did.
They became the billboard for the show. So which meant that then something we're able to resonate with the core demographic we wanted. Because I feel like had it been the show being discussed on radio, would have had a problem. This is the show that had to live at where that target audience was.
That's actually true, because it did find its audience, because people really love it. And I have to give you props about that, because also the room was full of young people writing and telling the stories, and we're just helping us guide, making sure that the stories make sense. So that was actually quite nice. I
think I just knew that I was way older than most of you, and that one can guide rather than impose. So one could say, okay, I think this is where you want to go. I think this is the best way to go about it. You know, like you referred earlier about mentorship and resonance with the core audience. I can't resonate with that audience, but I have been telling stories for a much longer period. So I'm able to say, okay, I know this is where, I think you'll remember, I will be like, I know this is what you want. So I think this is the best way to tell this story bit that you want.
Okay, so just before we move on, what will your highlight of the show that you think that this one, the one that you created, your favorite one? It's like choosing one of your babies, but which one sticks out to you?
You know, it's one of the it's a very tough one. And I would say, you know, whenever you come up with a show and the timing at which a show comes out always does shift. You know, when you tell impactful stories, they can shift society. And I think when The River came out, I think it came out at a time where telenovelas had been around and everybody has been, you know, and I think it came out at a time where the quality of South African production had reached a ceiling. And there was like a norm of this is what you can make. A South African content look, sound, and taste like. And then I think when The River came out, it really just elevated that your production value can be brilliant, the writing can be brilliant, the performance can be brilliant, that every single aspect of a TV show can be a 10. And I always look back at that show with that kind of sensibility but then it came at a time where viewers were ready for that kind of a content, right? And I think the same thing happened when we did adulting. I think we had something like The Wife, which was based on a book, and it did very well for Showmax. And I think when we came in, there was an idea of distinguishing family viewing content and adult viewing content. Right? And I think what had happened is that in South Africa, we had not really shifted from what is considered family viewing content and what is considered adult viewing content, right? That, other shows might have what is considered adult content, but they are still in the realm of family shows. And I think when we came in, I remember it was a very risque show. We had a lot of debates. And I remember when it debuted, right? And I think, I think I'd stopped being active on Twitter. And I think somebody was like sending me the screenshots of the shock and the reaction. So I think that show, and to then repeat it, I think Youngins was then a slow burn, right? It was a slow burn. Like you dropped it and there was this show, and then it started living in other platforms. And then you could see gradually over a week, suddenly
came to view.
Suddenly it was like, and then by a week you kind of knew you had a hit. So I think this kind of show really for me have defined sort of my career.
I remember when Youngins was about to come out, I was so nervous because I was like, I wonder how people are going to receive it. And then, like you said, it's slow burn. The first week I was like, okay, there's no reaction much. And then the second week came, and then I was like, oh, okay, this is how people are receiving it. And the way the stories that we were telling in the room and how people are receiving them, for me was quite interesting. I'm like, oh, okay, they're seeing it in a different light. Maybe they are like personal experiences. And I was like, okay, this is a very powerful thing that we do, like telling stories, like people get to see themselves there.
But I think that's why one appreciates the programs that you are in that even when you come and become part of our productions, I think one appreciates is the space at which authentic content can be cooked, right? And I've loved working with different kind of young upcoming writers, and what you find is a bit of a disconnect between the core audience that consumes the content and the writer. And, because the writer tends to, what they consume is probably film school material, global television. And you're like, well, South Africa is on a different platform. If you really want that connection, with your audience, you have to meet them where they are. And I'm glad you are talking about Youngins, right? I remember, I think there were like 2 other shows somewhere else that were also young focus shows around the same time. And when we were developing it, there was that feeling that, what if people are gonna think you are just like the other show? And they're like, no. We are an authentically South African high school experience. And it was funny to watch the audience say exactly the same words. That we see the other teen shows, other young coming of age, but this is us. This resonates with us. So I think for me, it's like these programs are good where we get to meet with you, as mentees and people within the Multi-Choice Talent Factory, that you coming with film school knowledge and with a much global perspective of storytelling, and you know this, and I'm like, no.
Yeah. This moment I remember exactly.
Yes, what moment?
Like, the moment when we were talking about it, I was like, no, but that other show did this, and we were like, no, this one did it that way.
Yeah.
But this one, we're doing it this way because we are being authentic to what we are trying to tell. Yeah. So that was quite eye-opening, because I also like the way people also assumed that it was going to be that, because when people were like, oh, is this trying to be that? Because people had a perception or like an expectation of what we are going to do, and then it just became something that they were not expecting at all. I think for us it's this kind of collaborations. You know, we get your youth, and then you get our experience and understanding of the markets, of the industry, and then ultimately you then have to create content that resonates with South Africans. Yeah, that's actually very true. That's very, very true.
So my question to you is that, having been part of the Multi-Choice Talent Factory and being in our room, and really being a young writer that is coming up in the industry, how do you think this experience, mostly propelled by MTF, has really prepared you for the bigger industry and for being able to tell stories that resonate with young people like yourself?
Yeah. So I think the way that it prepared me, because the whole year we were taken to different sets. We were taken to different departments, seeing exactly where you fit. So seeing how to do something, learning from other people. So for example, when I was on the river, I did continuity, and then I loved it. And then I was like, okay, I can do it, but I want to now get to writing. So when we got to the opportunity to actually write our own movies, I was like, okay, this is where my heart is. Because when you go to these different sets, you get to see different ways people operate, and then you get to see how do you want to operate in this space. Do you like how you work, or do you like how this other person work, and which one does fit your personality? Because usually we go a whole year just trying to rediscover and discover who we are as creatives. So when you go into a room like that, you get to actually understand that the whole year you were preparing to be able to speak up, to actually be able to do something, say, hey, you know what, I can do this thing. If you want me to do camera, I can do camera, I can do whatever you want me to do, but this is what I want to do exactly.
And has writing now become your focus?
Oh yes, it has, definitely. It has, because right now I think when I was on set, it made me realize that actually set is not for me.
Yes, set has its people.
Yeah, I was like, this is not for me. So it made me actually realize that writing is the thing that I want to do, and that's what I'm trying to really build my career on, just focusing on writing, and then I can branch out into other things.
And what shows post Youngins? I'm sure you have gone on to write many other things.
So I did Nigiwe, and I also did I'm currently doing Mobango. The new season.
Funny enough, I actually started my career there.
They always always tell us that when they were here, this is the quality that they had. Now we have to try and match it. I'm like, oh, the pressure.
I started my career there.
So I did that, and then I also did Low Love and Betrayal on Showmax.
Oh yes, the streaming one. The one on Showmax.
Yeah, the one on Showmax.
I love that.
Yeah, it was a beast of a show to write for, because that was my first time actually storylining, and then also.
How many episodes?
13 episodes.
13 episodes.
Yeah, so we did 13 episodes, and then we were trying to do something that was there hasn't been done by multi-choice. Yes. So we're trying to build a blueprint, and I realized that actually doing MTF has also made me understand the kind of content or quality that I want to associate myself with. So that show was actually, I think, my first drama.
Yes.
The first one, and it was difficult, but we were learning, and also worked with other people who actually were part of MTF as well, but they were on the other side of production.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, for me is that, it's and I'm really glad that you seem to have moved from MTF, and now you are a full-fledged a freelance writer, as we love to call them. And so what really, at this point, can you say is the genre that you are really enjoying? Because Youngins was a teen telenovela, and LLB is a proper legal drama.
I think the teen one for me.
Yes.
I really like telling young character stories because Legal Dragon, there's a lot of research involved in that as well. So I was like, by the end of that, I was like, okay, I feel like I can go into a courtroom and be a lawyer because now I know so much law. But when I came to the teen one, I was like, these are the experiences that we've had, but somehow are not being told, are not being shown to people, seeing what kids go through, what happened. Because at the time when Youngins came here, we had those teen dramas, but they were not really focused on reflecting the authentic stories, the authentic life that characters have. So for me, teen dramas, and yeah, that's for me right now is where I'm kind of leaning towards.
Okay, now I mean, I'm interested in youth programming because you're right. Over the past couple of years, everything has kind of become family viewing.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And young people's content has suddenly faded away. Even shows that started as like young people's show have suddenly morphed into adult television.
Yeah, that's actually true.
I mean, in summing up most of the conversation we've had is that I keep hearing that it's very difficult to get into MT. I mean, you tried twice already. I think my thing is that in your experience, what do you think makes one a potential successful candidate for Multi-Choice Talent Factory?
I think the most important is passion.
Yeah.
Like passion for what you want to do. I think also being like you have to go to a film school, right? But having the passion for it, not just wanting to do it because it seems cool, think it's nice, but having the passion and the tenacity to actually follow through. Because the MTF is grueling. It cooks you to become a fully fledged like filmmaker. So if you have passion for it, that for me like is the most important thing, knowing that you are not in this industry because you wanna just be part of it, but you feel like you're called to be a part of it. And then just dedication as well, like no matter what happens, you just keep pushing because it is gonna test you. There are moments where you're like, oh okay, this, because it needs to make sure that when you come out that side, you're gonna go out in the industry and you're not gonna embarrass them, because you need to understand exactly how everything works.
I mean, so to everyone that would watch this and watching this and is studying filmmaking and wanting to be where you are now, wanting to be in credits, wanting to have a career. I mean, it's always so, I hear you talking about passion. It's always so fascinating that when you talk about passion, you must distill that it's a very difficult job.
It is.
It's a very hard job.
It is.
That you need to really love it to sustain you. And that's what we mean basically when you say about passion.
Yeah, passion.
Is that it's long hours, it's difficult, like you said, it's grilling. And you really need to love it. That's what we mean really by passion, is that for it to sustain you throughout. But for my thing, it's what then do you have to say to somebody who wants to get in, who somebody who's considering being part of this project? What really, looking back at the 10 years of this program, have become the takeaway point for you, that you really tell someone to take that gamble, even if they don't get through the first time you did, that you have to keep at it? What are the takeaway points that you would use to inspire someone to be able to keep going, applying?
Oh, that's a very interesting question. I think for me, is that it's going to be worth it.
Yeah,
it is going to be worth it, because you get to be in spaces that you could only dream about. You can only knock on so many doors, but this one gives you that opportunity. So you need to really be dedicated and just push on. Because I'm like, you have to really be patient, and also go to places that like sets. Like you go to the sets of the river, you get to meet people, you get people coming in to teach you that, hey, this is how the master classes, this is what you can do, this is what. So it's really those moments that I can really say they are my key takeaway moments, where I got to be in spaces that post-varsity were difficult for me to go in. It was difficult because people did just like, oh, you just have a qualification. But here, you get to be put in spaces that will grow you, will make sure that you become a better filmmaker than you were yesterday?
They call this a conversation with a mentor. I think has this engaging with mentors really been beneficial?
Oh yes, it has. It has. I think every time that like I learn something new about you, something different, and then it keeps inspiring me. Like, you know what? One day I want to be where you are.
And I think you can tell people that we are not terrible like mentors have to be in television.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. No, you don't have to live things. Very approachable. No, it's not scary at all. It's not. So you're very nice, and I really appreciate what you've like done for my career so far. Like that room has really shaped and shifted my perspective in terms of storytelling.
I mean, I think for me that the satisfying thing is that having you there is that I hope you have one has imparted some sort of knowledge and expertise that you will then, you know, as I keep saying, you know, pay it forward. That you know, time moves very quickly. You know, I remember when I started my career, I was the youngest person in the writers' room.
Yeah.
These days, I'm probably the oldest person in the writers' room. And I think what I'm saying is that before you know it, you'll be the oldest person in the writers' room.
Yeah.
So I really think my hope is that you will be able to pay it forward, and that as you enter this industry, you know, and as we celebrate the 10 years of, you know, everything, is that I hope this has been an amazing jumping pad for you, and really one cannot wait to have you back in our writing room, because we are in the end of our career. We are phasing out from being in writers' room, and it's your voices that then must define what does the family viewing Southern voice sound like. So I can't wait to see that.
Yeah, we will do it. Since I learned from the best, I'm sure it's gonna happen.
I hope this has been helpful for you.
It has been. It keeps inspiring me, keeps making me like, I know where I'm gonna go. Since I'm the youngest person in the room. Most of the writing rooms that I'm in, I'm the youngest one. So now it's gonna get there. So I'm like, you know, the trajectory is on the right way.
Enjoy it while it lasts. It won't be that very soon it will be over. Trust me. Very soon it will be over.
Yeah.
No man, thank you. I hope this was as interesting for you as it was for me.
Yeah, it was really informative. Like, I'm really interested. Thank you so much.
No, thank you. It was nice being here.
Yeah.